Hi, everyone. Welcome to Happy to See Me, the podcast that puts the spotlight on the overlooked and underestimated. I'm Erika Casupanan, and this week I'm speaking to content creator Gay Italian Nonna about coming out when you're growing up in a religious and immigrant family. But first, I love to start each episode talking about something I was happy to see this week. And it's actually been a few weeks since I've recorded a podcast. I usually record these episodes weeks in advance, and I've been able to spend the last few weeks supporting the work of former podcast guests. So one of the best things about podcasting is being able to meet all of these amazing people. And I had no idea that I was going to be able to make new friends, deepen friendships, or even just continue to support the incredible people I've had on the show. So over the last few weeks, I was able to go to Jay Northcott's play, which they just directed. And if you remember, Jay was a guest on episode 5, and Jay just directed this play in Toronto called The 7 Methods of Killing Kylie Jenner. It was incredible. Unfortunately, its extended run has ended, but make sure you go out and check out some community theater if you are up for it. I also got to go to an event called Manifest Toronto, and this was run by Kathleen Cameron. Kathleen was on episode 56 talking about how you can manifest your dreams. And I've actually had listeners tell me that they used some of Kathleen's methods to manifest things and make them reality. So it was amazing to be able to spend the day at her event and continue to be inspired and be excited for the future. And truly, I am always happy to see all of the gifts that I get from podcasting. I'm able to meet so many incredible people, have these inspirational conversations. And even with you, everybody listening, I'm able to authentically connect with you every week. So thank you so much for being here. And the community that we have found on this podcast is what I am always happy to see. Speaking of connecting authentically, I'm very excited for this week's episode with Gay Italian Nonna. Gay Italian Nonna is a content creator that is focused on authenticity and amplifying queer voices. Nonna means grandmother in Italian, and her content focuses on love, self-acceptance, and lifting others. In this episode, we're talking about her background growing up in a religious immigrant family and then coming out when she was 30. Plus, we talk about how coming out is often not this isolated incident where you make this realization about your sexuality and you come out. Coming out is something that's usually not done in isolation. So we talk about this idea of how when you come out, you're often transforming in many different ways. So in the interview, Nonna talks about how when she came out, she was also making changes around her career, her identity, and other parts of her life. And really, it was this amazing evolution to get her to be the most authentic version of herself and to continue growing to love herself for who she is. So let me know in the comments if this is something you have experienced. Plus, she is sharing advice for Pride Month when you are newly out. So make sure you tune in for that. So if you know somebody who is newly out as an adult or they're going through this period of transformation in their life, make sure you share this episode with them because they will be able to relate. So let's just get into it. Here is my interview with Gay Italian Nonna. I hope you enjoy it. I grew up with a lot of Italian friends. So all my little friends on my street were Italian and we would go to each other's houses after school. My friend had her nonna who lived with her and she would make us pasta. And it was so weird. There was one day where she was yelling at my friend about something and then she leaves the room and I was like, I understood what she said. I don't know how, but I understood what she was mad at you about. I've spent a lot of time with a nonna before, so I feel at home talking to you today.
We just talk with so much passion and like our hands that it's like, yeah. But I'm sure you were probably fed really well.
Oh my God, I ate so much. And my family would eat dinner later. So then I would go to my friend's house after school. I would eat with her family and then I would come home and then eat with my family. So unbeknownst to so many people, I was just this little kid eating 2 dinners every night. Like, do.
Italians eat so early. They like either eat really early or really late. Like there's no in between.
Because I learned about so many Italian things growing up. And then once I got older, I didn't realize that they weren't common. My friends always had, was it a cantina in their basement? And it was always filled with jars of peaches. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is just like what white people have in their basements. But it turns out it's just Italians.
Yeah. The cantina is like sacred. Like you literally have like hanging meat. You have all of the sugo. You have bottles of water, a bunch of wine. I think it's called a cold cellar. I learned that later. I was like, cantina. And I'm like, I think one of my like, I don't know, friends in college were like, the hell's a cantina? I'm like, like that. And they're like, a cold cellar? I'm like, that's what it's called. Okay.
The way you said cold cellar was with so much disappointment. It's like you had to really force those words out of your body.
Cold cellar.
Yeah. We have so much in common. I mean, me with my like beside Italian people upbringing, but also I would love for you to share your story. We're going to get into it because you, like me, were somebody who came out in her 30s. So I'm glad I'm not alone in that.
We are a strong group. We are a strong and mighty group coming out later in life. But yeah, I came out when I was 30, which was absolutely, when you think of it, like wild, because you live like 30 years of your life, like not being like super authentic to yourself. So that comes along with like a lot of like growth and trauma that you have to like unravel and like peel back like an onion.
Yeah. And also Filipino people and Italian people are largely Roman Catholic. So did you grow up religious too?
Yeah, very religious. We grew up very heavily in the church. I taught Sunday school. Okay. We went every Sunday. Sometimes during the week, we would have rosary groups. It was very, 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 very Catholic. Fun fact, my dad actually studied to be a priest, but he was like, I don't want to be a priest, but in Italy, you can get really good education for it. Mm-hmm. So he's heavily religious. So yeah, it was really interesting growing up in like an immigrant Italian family that has their own culture and views and stereotypical hetero norms, plus the Catholic piece, which is very much like can't be gay. Mm-hmm. Those two things combined subconsciously like affected me, right? Because I knew I was a little bit, but I just thought it was normal to like appreciate the beauty of women. And I didn't really know much. Well, I remember like the first time, I had sex with a guy because I was in a relationship for 5 years with one. I was like, oh, I guess this is what it's supposed to be. Like, cool. Like, I didn't know better because you don't really get much sex education or you don't really talk about exploration in any sort of way. Like, it was very much like you meet a man, you get married, you have babies, you get a house, and you work until you die, and then you just have your grandbabies, and it like repeats, right? I just remember being like, oh, I guess this is going to be my life. I'm going to have this horrible sex life. I'm going to have this mediocre relationship. I didn't want kids. That gave me such anxiety. I was like, here I am. I was 24 at the time. Here I am about to enter something into my life because he was going to propose. We were looking at houses. Like we were ready, right? Mm-hmm. Ready. And deep down, I was just like, I can't do this. I started getting panic attacks. I had no idea why. I just felt like I was being trapped into a life that I consciously created, mm-hmm. but didn't want to live. And it scared me. So I just broke up with him out of the blue. And I remember my family just being like, what's happening? What's wrong? Oh my goodness. And the way I kind of just painted in my head, I didn't know at the time. Like I kind of, again, was like, I just want to travel and do me and explore me and have fun. Started getting tattoos and I started getting piercings. I remember my sister being like, what are you doing with your life? They were all like so scared for me, mm-hmm. because I was just at the time rebelling. But I wasn't rebelling. I was just living the life I wanted to live, right? I'm like, I did nothing harmful. There was nothing bad that I was doing, but I was such a rebellious person in my family that they were concerned for me at the beginning. Through that journey, and I started to date. I dated women, felt really great. It scared me. And I had some cousins come up to me at a party and I love them. And I told them about this afterwards. I was like, you guys know you did this. They're like, what? But they were like, hey, are you gay? And they're social workers. Like, I feel like they were able to spot it very mm-hmm. easily. And it scared me. And I was like, I'm not ready for this. It feels so right. It is wrong. So there was a lot of like internalized homophobia that I had to deal with from, again, the Catholic piece, but then also the Italian narrative as well.
I totally relate. I think that people underestimate when you come from this environment that is steeped in tradition with the Catholic piece and then the immigrant traditions.
Yeah.
You were probably not a bad girl is my guess, but then just because you were living authentically and doing your own thing, all of a sudden it seems like you're the most rebellious person ever. Then that kind of confuses you in terms of how you operate in the world because you're like, oh, I can't do anything that's actually bad because me just being a good girl seems bad. So I totally relate to that.
I like to say the colorful sheep of the family, right? Where I was just going against everything that they were used to. I moved out before I was married. I was like one of the first people in my entire Italian family, and I have a huge Italian family. I was the first one to move out without being married. And that was a scandal. Yeah. When you think of it, like I was the scandalous one, but my scandalous was like, hey, I have a place. I'm going to go live in it.
I know. I can take care of myself.
Yeah. Like, oh, she's traveling all over the world by herself and doesn't want to have a boyfriend or date. Mm-hmm. You built resilience to it, you know?
When you were growing up, were you in Catholic school? You were that type of Catholic?
Yes and no. I was always a very strong ally.
Same.
Yeah, I was like a strong ally, you know? And like, yes, I taught Sunday school, but like I always in my soul was like, you just live the life that you want to live, right? Mm-hmm. I would preach that to my friends. Who cares what people think? Blah, blah, blah. Yet I wasn't the one taking my own advice. Before I came out, I had to heal my religious trauma. That was like a lot of it. And that was me stepping away from the church, which set my parents into a spiral. They were more upset about me stepping away from the church than they were about me being gay. They're supportive of me being gay. Like literally my dad was like, I know, like he knew. I remember like, Dad, yeah, I'm a lesbian. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, you know, and my mom cried because she's like, I wish I was there to support you. I support you, but I just wish I was there along the way. But they were more upset and gave me more guilt and more issues and more hardship about not going to church than it was about who I was dating. Wow. And so that took a lot. And I am a very spiritual person. I do believe that there's like a higher power. I'm a big believer about whether you want to call it praying or you want to call it manifesting or believing, like 100%. That's what I believe in. I just don't believe in how the institution operates. I think the institution is very corrupt. That's all I'm going to say there.
No, I hear you. As a former Catholic school, used to go to church every Sunday. Yeah. I totally hear you. I totally get it. I think that that's the other thing that comes with coming out later, because often it's not just, oh, you realize that you're attracted to the same sex or at least non-men. And that's a big shift. But people don't realize that when you make that change, so many other parts of your identity and so many other things that you think you are or labels you put on yourself also have to kind of go away. Yeah. Was that your experience?
Yeah, it was like a complete, I guess we'll call it ego death. I think that's what it's called. Who knows? But it was like, I looked at this person who I consciously created and was like, who is she? I do not know who she is. So I started peeling back the layers of what does my life want to look like? How do I really want to live? Okay, what does dressing look like my clothes? How about my hair? Okay, let's take a look at my job. Let's take a look at who I'm surrounding myself with, who I'm dating, my spirituality, like all of these different pillars of who I was. I had to like dissect and say, what is actually me? Who am I? That took a journey. And it's still a journey. I don't think it ever ends, but being able to reflect. It's like I came out, but I came out in so many other ways as well. And that's why I speak about being my most authentic self, because I felt for the last, my 20s, even my high school years, I wasn't living my authentic life. I was living my life for my family. I was living my life for what society expected of me. I wasn't actually living it for me. Hard pill to swallow, but I'm so happy I did.
I love that you said that it's actually a series of coming outs, because as I think about it, I've had so many of those moments over the last few years. Those moments where you just kind of break out and you do something that's authentic to you, even though it's different from how you've been operating before. And I'm thinking, okay, what was the first moment where I did that for myself? And I'm like, you know what it was? It was the day that I just cut off 10 inches of my hair and dyed it purple. And then after that, I realized all these things I thought I needed to do, I don't have to do. And then slowly but surely, everything unraveled. Did you have a first moment of, fuck it, I'm doing this for myself? Was it breaking up your 5-year relationship, or was it something else?
Your hair is iconic, by the way. I love
it. Thank
you. But I know that feeling where you're just like, fuck it. And you feel so free and you're just like, yes. I think there were a few pivotal moments. Yes, it was breaking up that relationship in hindsight. I think that was a catapult to everything. And it was like a journey from there. So that was the catalyst. I think moving out was another catalyst because, again, it went against the grain. To me, getting tattoos, which I think to the norm, it's like, oh, you get your tattoos. But like that is an expression of me. My first tattoo is an Italian saying called attraversiamo, which means to cross over. So to cross, it literally means to cross. And to me, getting that symbolized, I'm crossing into this brand new chapter of my life. I want to document that on my body because this is my vessel. This is who I am. This is my life story. So let's put it on my body. Why not? So that one, the coming out was a big one. For me, getting my undercut was probably a huge pivotal moment because I was very femme growing up, like extremely femme. I love hair. I love makeup. I love beauty. I never felt comfortable. I would slay a look. Do not get me wrong. I would slay a look like no tomorrow, dress, heels, hair, makeup. Ask any of my friends from childhood. I was never confident in it. I had EDs. I dropped down to 119 pounds. That is so skinny for someone like me. You saw my bones. Like I was just so tiny. I still never felt comfortable and I didn't understand why. So being able to really say, how the heck do I want to dress that makes me feel truly comfortable was like, I think where I am kind of now in my journey, that was like, yeah. And that started with the undercut. Then it started with the hair chop, just like you. You know, now you will not catch me in heels or a dress unless it's for some sort of like fun TikTok. It's no, I would rather never do that again.
I am so proud of you for all of this. I totally relate. And I think that if anyone is listening and they have someone in their life who is just shedding skin, transforming, just honestly stay out of their way and just let them do what they need to do. And then just be there for them when they come out this evolved or evolving version of themselves. Because once that process starts, you can't stop it. I think because you've suppressed it for so long, now you just can't stop it and it has to keep going.
Yeah, it's so true. And I'm proud of you because it is hard. And I'm proud of anyone that is doing that is listening right now. So yeah, give yourself a pat on the back. It's hard, but you need to go through it. And it's so liberating. And it's like, you're literally this caterpillar that's like breaking through the shell to like evolve into your beautiful butterfly self. And that's why so many people are like, you're so different from how you used to be. Well, hell yeah. I'm different. Because
I hope so.
That wasn't me. Like, sure, it was me, but it wasn't me. So I feel like your 30s, or at least in our cases, like your 30s is really saying, who am I? And living your life in that way.
Well, when I met you, we were talking about how all the cool people have some type of life crisis in their early 30s and just ruin their lives and then end up amazing. So if you're going through that too, if you are in the middle of it and it feels uncertain, I'm proud of you. Trust me, you are on the right track.
It's true. Yeah, I think you met me when I was like, I could quit my job. Bye, corporate. Good times.
Well, I want to hear more about that too, because as we were saying, all of these things tend to happen at the same time. How did coming out as gay relate to you quitting your job? Was that at the same time? Did one influence the other?
Yeah, it was a journey. Like, I think, again, it's the same thing. It's a journey going through it. But I was in the beauty industry for 14 years. So in high school, I loved beauty. I wanted to be, a makeup artist. I wanted to do something in the beauty realm. Again, immigrant Italian parents. In the culture, it's like you need to have a very successful job. You need to have that like job. It's like a pride thing, like not to say any career is bad, but they really want those like title jobs, like lawyer, doctor, teacher, things like that. So I remember going and being like, I'm not going to university, parents. I am going to college for cosmetics and business. They were just like, oh my God, like, what is she doing with her life? But I pursued it. Again, that was like another catalyst. And then I landed a job within college at the company I was with for 14 years. And they're like the leaders in beauty. And I love that company so much to this day. Like, I have so much love for them. And I remember just not going to my exams in final year because I had the opportunity to travel to San Francisco with them. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. Hell yeah. And my parents were like, what are you doing? Like, come on. I'm like, no, trust me, trust me. So I ended up working out and I started growing within that company and I was doing, the education part of it, teaching beauty seminars, all of that. But again, there was something in the back of my mind. I was like, I need to make my parents more proud. Like, I want to have more of that director title, right? Like, there's something about, although it's not a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, it's like, I'm a director or I'm a senior manager at this company. Like, ooh, look at my proud daughter, So I climbed that corporate ladder, and the higher I climbed, the further away I was from what I wanted to do. And so coming out, I really just kind of sat back and was like, I need a break from this. Like, I truly need a break. I feel like I need to shed who the old me is. And at the time I was kind of like, let me just switch it and do a career path and go with it. So I ended up going to another corporate opportunity within fine jewelry. I was like, yeah, this kind of works. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it so much. I knew what I was doing. I was good at it, but I hated it. And then when you met me, I was like, I quit my job because I just wanted to go pursue what genuinely made me happy and what brought me joy and go back to who I was. And that took time. So that took like 7 months for me to figure out what the heck am I doing? Like, what is my passion? I would dabble in a bunch of things. And then one day I got invited to a masterclass with L'Oreal and I was like, yep, it's back to beauty. And that just ignited the soul in me again. Like, I love making content, all of that, but there's like, what is my true passion? And I remember that it's teaching people how to feel more confident in their own skin. I think my favorite things about beauty is that beauty, like, it's skin deep, right? You have to start from in here. This can just help, but like, how do we work on this and that? And that's kind of what I want to do with my content. It's like, how can you be your most authentic self and then give yourself a little bit more confidence through makeup?
Beauty and makeup is something that most people associate with being traditionally feminine. So you spent so much of your career not realizing that you were closeted, working in what's probably considered a more feminine industry. And then now that you are out and you're exploring your style, you're presenting more masculine today.
Yeah.
And now you are back exploring beauty. How does the journey with beauty also relate to your sexuality too?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. I think there's like a lot of, oh, you can't be masculine presenting and wear makeup. And I'm here to say, why the fuck can't you? Like, truly, why the fuck can't you? There are so many masculine men that can wear makeup and they're told they're too feminine. Or there's a lot on the opposite side. There's a lot of women that are feminine that hate wearing makeup and then they're told that they're not feminine enough. So I really want to just say, fuck the gender norms, fuck everything. Makeup is like, it doesn't have a gender. Makeup does not have a gender. Here I am, someone that's more masculine presenting that does wear makeup. I want to be able to kind of shout that from the rooftops. It's like, makeup is an expression. It's an extension of your expression. It's an extension of your clothing. So if I'm dressed really fucking funky one day, absolutely, maybe I'm going to do something cool with my eyes. And it's really just, how do you express yourself through cosmetics that allow you to be who you want to be? It's whatever you want. And I get fucking weird comments like, you're not Masc. Mascs don't wear makeup, or you're a wannabe Masc. And I'm just like, it is such a toxic mindset to have because it's so invalidating to, again, masculine men who want to wear makeup or want to wear skirts that are very masculine. It's invalidating to women that don't want to wear makeup, right? It's like, why does makeup have to be an extension of femininity, right? It's literally genderless. So it's such a weird mindset. So here I am just trying to punch those walls down and be like, no, we exist, I don't know. I feel hot wearing masculine clothes. I want to add a little bit of, I don't always have full glam on that. It's me.
Yeah.
In a natural way, but full glam.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say that makeup is genderless, but it's true. It's just something that enhances your face, or it can be on your body too, but still, it's just something that enhances your face. Sure. Anybody can wear it. If you think about people who are on TV or in movies, everyone of every gender is wearing makeup. It's like a functional thing that helps you to present to the world the way you want to. So who cares? Yeah. I love that.
It's true. And look at Jason Momoa, ultimate man, he wears eyeliner. If we think of I know Johnny Depp's controversial right now, but we look at Johnny Depp, he always had that guy liner, right? And you don't think that they're going to go to a red carpet and not have some sort of powder on your face? You're absolutely crazy. They wear it in Hollywood.
Oh, 100%. In terms of you exploring your style, leaning more into the masculinity, was this something that your family was able to really get on board with right away after you've gone through all of your evolution? Are they just like, okay, at this point, cut your hair however you want?
It's interesting because when we talk about being the rebellious one, I was always the rebellious one, the colorful sheep. I had buzzed hair at one point. So it was buzzed on one side and it was about here and it was very Rihanna-esque. I have had every color hair possible because that was my kind of way of expressing myself or trying to live as close to who I was on the inside because I was suppressing it. So they weren't really shocked in terms of how I'm expressing. They were just like, it's Monica being Monica. Like, I'm very, very fortunate to have such a good support family. Like, I'm so thankful for them. But yeah, it was definitely like, oh, from like other people, oh, like, you're dressing like this now. I'm like, yeah, I'm a lot more confident in it. I would date men and these men would literally say like, can you chill? Like, you're such a bro. Like, you're too masculine because of just my mannerisms, my energy. I'm very feminine, I would guess, presenting here, but I have a very masculine energy to me. So I'm leaning into that more. And I think my family's supportive of it. I remember my mom was like, are you ever going to wear a dress again? I was like, wouldn't be caught dead in it. I'm like, do you want them? She was like, sure, I'll take them. And that was the conversation. So I'm fortunate because not everyone has that.
Yeah, especially from such a traditional family.
Yeah.
That's so amazing that you were able to have that positive response.
Yeah. I feel like I worked through all of the like other things that now is just like, you know, I was like prepping them. Yeah, moving out. Like, so now it's like, okay, the shock factor's over from like all of those other things. So
I hear you. I mean, cut off all my hair, dyed it purple, left my stable career, did a reality show. So after going through all that, then telling my Catholic Filipino parents that I'm gay, they were just like, cool.
Yeah. Like, were they like shocked? They were shocked. They weren't shocked at all. They were like, no.
They were just like, great. Like, they didn't care in a good way. They didn't care in a good way. They were like, awesome, great, cool.
Yeah, family's so funny.
I know. If there's anyone listening and they are nervous about talking to more traditional family, what would you tell them?
That's a good question. I would say like make sure you have a really good support system. So I speak a lot about like chosen family. So have a really strong support system and have your chosen family around you because you don't know the reality of how they will react. Just be honest with them. It might take them a minute to come around. They might come around immediately. It might take them a while. If they don't come around, you have your chosen family. And biological, like blood family does not mean that they have to be your family. You know, that's even outside of the queer world that you want to surround yourself with people that love you and support you and are there for you no matter what unconditionally. So that chosen family and having that support group, super important. Make sure you're in safe as well. Like if it's going to put you in danger or it's going to threaten your safety, it's okay not to. I think so many people are like, I have to come out. I'm like, if you're in danger, no, do what's best and safe for you. And then I think the other thing is just be prepared to have that reaction, but not to overthink as well. Like, I think for me, I was so scared to tell my family, not because I knew they weren't going to be supportive, but because I didn't want to put them through what the community had to say. The Italians, they love to talk. I didn't want my parents to go through that. Because they've been so supportive of me of like everything. I didn't want to put them through that hardship. And I remember one of my friends saying to me, they're like, that's not your responsibility. They are there for you. Let them handle it. It will be okay. And I was like, it's a tough one. And so I came out and I was like, if you need anything. And I remember having a very honest conversation with my mom being like, I don't want you guys to feel like people are going to come at you and this and that. And you know, she was like, they have something to say. They can say it to my face and I'll tell them. Like my mom's like a feisty, you know, she's like, I'll tell them how it is, you know, and that's what she is. And one of my uncles was talking about gays or, you know, he's talking about gays in a not good light. She just said like, well, you know, your niece is gay, so you better stop with that.
I love.
And I was like, yes, mama.
That's really good advice that someone gave you about how you only have to be responsible for yourself. I think that a lot of people who have had their caterpillar years where you're living the way you think you're supposed to live and you're going to date men and have the good job and just mosey along the way you think you're supposed to. I think that there's a lot of people-pleasing tendencies that come with that. And then as part of your evolution, you have to start to shed those things. But it's really easy to think, oh my gosh, I have to deliver this in a way that doesn't inconvenience anybody else. And I have to make sure that they know how to handle it. But it's true. You're not responsible for anyone else's emotions. You just have to share it in the way that is right for you and trust that everyone else can handle it.
Exactly. And how you live your life might upset people, you know, and that is not a reflection of you. That's a reflection on them, right? Live your life. It might piss people off and you're going to be a mirror for a lot of people. There are a lot of people that I would do something, you know, dressed like this and they'd be like, well, why do you have to? And I'm like, well, reflect on it. Why does it make you upset? Yeah, you're going to be a mirror for a lot of people, and that is not your responsibility to take on other people's emotions. It's your responsibility to communicate it to them and like how you are feeling in the nicest way. But You're not responsible for theirs.
100%. It's probably they're still in their caterpillar era, and you're at the very least, in the cocoon era, if not the butterfly. So that's why they feel that way. Because I feel like if there's another butterfly, the other butterfly won't go to you and be like, why are you like that?
Right? And that's with anything. And that's like the whole, like, this is a little off topic, but like the whole thing about, oh, that's so cringe, or people that just spew hate. There's something that they need to do that it's like, why does someone living their life affect you to that level? Why is my question. I just say, I'm like, I wish you healing. That's like my thing. Cause I'm like, I get haters on my page all the time. And they're just like, this is cringe. Stop winking. I hate you. I literally got one recently. It said hate from Texas.
Wow, you're international. I love that.
I'm international. I died of laughter when I saw that one because I was like, this is so funny. But it's like, if my sheer existence, and I think that's something that why the queer community, like we come out every goddamn day. Mm-hmm. We come out every goddamn day. If my sheer existence pisses you off, which is the reality that unfortunately we're living in, why? Is it because I'm living my life authentically and you are not? Okay, well then you need to figure that out. And I think so many unhappy people project hate when they see someone living their life happily. We're in our butterfly eras or our cocoon eras, so we're living our life happily, authentically. It goes against the grain because we're just doing what makes us happy. And that will trigger people because there's unhappy people in this world. So if we keep talking about it, more people will become happy and start their cocoon era. So
Exactly. But it's only recently I'm like, okay, let me talk a little bit more about being a lesbian, but still maintaining my boundaries. So I feel like I don't go overboard in terms of talking about being a lesbian. But whenever I do, there's always someone messaging being like, you know, you're not a hero. You know, you're not anything special. I'm like, I'm not. I don't think I am. I'm just talking about my life. Yes. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Also, you become desensitized to it because you're like, okay, this actually isn't based in anything except for somebody projecting their own insecurity on me. So great.
Projecting. And you are a hero to many people that
thank you.
Want to come out, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's great when you're speaking about it, and it doesn't need to be everything you speak about, but when you do speak about it, it gives hope and it gives that feeling of like, I can do this. That can be me. And it gives that inspiration. They might not think you're a hero, but you could have effectively saved someone's life from inauthenticity. Yeah. So call yourself a hero, babe.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I'll take it. Speaking of inspirational content, I want to talk about your social media. So Gay Italian Nonna. You have been growing over the last few years. Congratulations. Can you tell me what you do on social media and then how you got started with Gay Italian Nonna?
Sure. So yeah, Gay Italian Nonna on all socials. And I just show up authentically as me online. And that can be in terms of fashion. It's now in terms of beauty, all of the beauty makeup. It's real ships of my mental health. So all of that I'm using, and funny stuff too. There's always comedy there. I use my platform as a beacon of hope and inspiration, but also to like spread joy, spread happiness, spread pasta. All of that is what, why Gay Italian Nonna is all about. It started as a joke. So in high school, like my best friends would all be like, you need to be on social media. Like it was when YouTube just started, not to age myself, but they're like, YouTube wasn't always a thing when I was younger. And they're like, YouTube started and they're like, get on YouTube. And I'm like, no. And I look back, I'm like, if I was on YouTube back then, it wouldn't have been me. If I started social media back then, it wouldn't have been me. So it was like a time and a place, things happen for a reason. It started as neighbor wars, okay? This is so random. Neighbor wars. I had a horrible neighbor upstairs. He was just the worst human being I've ever met in my entire life. And he would constantly like dump stuff on my balcony, like dump dirty spider water. He would dump his garbage on my balcony, like purposely. And I remember telling him like, hey, can you not do that? And like, he just told me to like, go fuck myself. And I was like, what is wrong with you? So I made a funny TikTok about it. And I was like raiding my neighbor's trash or whatever. And it blew up. People got invested. And I was like, oh, I really like this social media thing. So why don't I just start talking about me? And I just came out. I'm like, maybe it will help people. And so people responded well to it. Next thing you know, I'm like just posting more and my content's evolved. It started as like fun giggles. There was a lot of thirst traps.
As there should be.
As there should be. I look back and I'm like, I really did that. It started as that. And then it really evolved when I said, hey, you know what? I can do so much good with this platform. And I want this to be my life. I'm a very creative brain. So being able to share my story in fun ways that can resonate with people just bring me so much joy. So that's kind of how it's evolved. And then Nonna is Italian for grandma. I do it for my grandma. So my grandma passed. She was like literally my best friend. So supportive. There's a video I have when I was in the closet and she's sitting down. I used to record her all the time. She'd be like, you can bring home a girl. You know that?
Aww.
And she knew because she would always be like, when are you finding a boyfriend? When are you going to get a husband? I'm like, no, never. And then one day I'm just filming her randomly and she goes, you know, you could bring home a girl. And my mom was there. She started laughing. I do it for her just to spread joy. She was such a beacon for her community. She did so much for the Italian community when they all migrated. She would cook for people, send them care packages. So I do it in her honor. So that's why I'm Gay Italian Nonna.
Oh, so is your mission then to spread joy like a digital nonna?
I'm a digital nonna, yes. So you want to come out, join my family. Just the nonna of the family. Like I make sure everyone feels love, joy, happiness. I'm going to tell you the harsh reality because that's how I am.
Yes, as a nonna does.
Yeah, nonna does. Like she's going to cook for you, care for you, hug you, and then slap you on the back of the head when you're doing something stupid. That's me to a T with my friends. I'm going to care for you. I'll support you. I'm never going to judge you. I do think everyone does things for lessons that they have to learn, you know, and I will support you through it, but I will be there to tell you the truth in a kind, nurturing way with a bowl of pasta.
Everybody needs somebody like that. So that's good that they can follow you and then they can get that without actually getting slapped in the head, just like a digital head slap.
It's like a digital, like, what are you doing? Like,
yes.
This is, you know, one of the backhands. So that's it. Digitally, just sharing like, you know, the realities. And right now it's just all about self-love and self-journey. And I think so many people are afraid to be alone. So I'm here to be like, be alone. Really stupid. Be alone. Figure out who you are. Don't do it with anyone else. That's me.
Oh my God. I love that. Well, when this episode comes out, it's going to be the beginning of Pride Month. So what was it like for you, your first Pride Month when you came out in your 30s?
It was wild. Like, I think I just experienced it from like a whole, again, I was a very strong ally, so we have to remember it. Mm-hmm. But I never truly understood the pride that you have of like, yes, this is authentically me. And I remember my first year at Pride, I walked in the parade with my ex for one of her family's businesses. And I was like, yes, this is me. This is authentic. And seeing all of these amazing people that are just being their true selves and the people supporting it. I'm like, this is amazing. And it was just so surreal. Like, I just remember being very emotional about it. Pride is every day. It's not just a month. It's not just, you know, stick a rainbow on it. It is every day that we have to be proud of who we are. And we face horrible homophobia, things in the daily. If you look at what's happening, you know, across North America, especially in the US, like it's horrible things are happening for the community that are pushing us. I don't know. I want to get too sad with this, but it's bad. It's sad. Mm-hmm. It's sad. It's happening. It's scary what's happening. And just saying like, hey, this is authentically who I am, and really trying to be that voice to help spread change, spread awareness, spread joy, but seeing pride and everyone living authentically, like you just see it. Like, you know, Toronto's very queer friendly, and you can go down the street and see a, you know, a gay couple or lesbian couple or, you know, non-binary couple, and it's great. But just seeing it in that mass, it's like, and you don't feel like you stick out like a sore thumb, if that makes sense. There's many, especially being more masculine presenting now. And this is something I'm like, oh shit. When I was more femme presenting, I was straight passing, right? So like no one really knew. Now it's like, that's a homosexual. Like they look at me and they're like, that's a homosexual. I stick out like a sore thumb. People look at me, people stare at me. I walked down the street a few days ago. Someone's like, Jesus loves you, like coming at me. There's so much, but being surrounded with people that all love who they want to love is so heartwarming.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Make sure there's tips for Pride though. That's needed.
Yeah. What was it like going to Pride for the first time, not as an ally? Because you've gone to Pride before as an ally, right?
Yeah. Not to like all of these events though. Does that make sense? Like I would go to like the little ones, which were more like ally friendly, if that makes sense. Like kind of more of like, this is the straight Pride. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is an event where it's like predominantly straight people being like, yeah, gay rights, you know, like things like that. And yeah, like I would do some of the queer thing, like some of the pride events, but it was so different. Like I remember going to the beer gardens at the 519 for the first time and being like, wow, this is amazing. Everyone's so queer and just like loving life and expressing themselves. And like, this was magical. It just warmed my heart. I loved it. And like, even just being in that parade and seeing it, oh, it was an experience. Like I will always remember that. I'll cherish it close to my heart.
For anyone who's listening and they're newly out as an adult and this is their first Pride Month, aka me, what's your advice for them?
So excited for you.
I know, we have to get together.
I was about to say, I'm like, can we do Pride together?
Yes, 100%.
Yes. Okay. So here's what I learned. You want to do it all, but know your own boundaries and know your limits, because I think I went so hard because I wanted to experience it all. And then I was like, muerte after. I was like, oh my God, like, sorry. I was so no one's going to understand that. I was like dead afterwards. I was like so exhausted, but I wanted to experience it. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to go here. Being someone that's like also very introverted, it really threw my balance off. So be kind to yourself. It doesn't make you less queer if you don't go to things. You are queer. Remember that. So you going to every single event out there doesn't make you more gay. It doesn't. You are gay. Mm-hmm. Your gayness stays the same.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, your gayness stays the same. You don't have to go out. And I think that's something I really wish someone told me, because I was freaking exhausted. So if you ask my Pride plans this year, like maybe going to 1-2 things, because I know my limits. I know what feels right for me. And being queer is about being authentic to you. So being authentic to me is not going out partying all the time. That's it. So if I'm going out partying all the time, I'm almost doing the opposite. So like here I am telling you, it's okay not to go to everything. It does not make you less queer. There you go.
Okay, I like that. I feel like that's good advice for me, because I'm the type where I'm like, I'm just going to do everything and really lean in and have the full experience. And I'm like, I have to eat and sleep and still work and function. So that's a good reminder.
Yeah, it's a good reminder. I mean, you can definitely like pick like the top things, write a list out of everything that you want to go to, and then say, okay, what would actually bring me the most joy? Okay, maybe it's one queer party, one wild, lesbian party. That's the one I'm going to go to. And then maybe I'm going to go to one other activity. And the Saturday, I'm just going to hang out with my chosen family. That's totally fine. Mm-hmm. Like, that's okay. Or if you're like, I would rather just go grab brunch on Church Street and walk up and down Church Street, that's okay too. So write them all out and then pick your like top 3 and pack water.
Yes.
Like you need the water. That is like crucial. Get good sleep. Be safe. I think that's the biggest one as well. Be safe.
Yeah. Yes. And in Canada, Canada Day is the Monday after Pride. So pace yourself. Everyone who's in Toronto and you're about to have a long Pride weekend, pace yourself, please.
I'm just calling it the honorary gay holiday now instead of Canada Day. So
I like that.
It's literally Pride Day. It's a holiday. I know. It's going to be so wild. Toronto's going to be so wild. I'm so excited. I know. What I definitely want to experience are like prides in other cities. I've never experienced that before. That's on the bucket list eventually, checking out different prides across, but
we'll do that next. We'll start with Toronto and then we'll go to another one next.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nonna, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I feel like I learned so much about your story. I got so much good advice from you. If people want to keep up with you online, where can they do that?
You can follow me at Gay Italian Nonna on all platforms.
Thank you so much. How do I say that in Italian?
Grazie tanto.
Oh, no, I'm going to butcher.
We're going to do the lesson. So it's grazie.
Grazie.
Tanto.
Tanto.
Yeah. Grazie tanto.
Grazie tanto.
Yeah.
Ciao, Nonna. Did I do that one right?
Yeah, you did. That was good. I love it. Grazie. Grazie.
Thank you so much, Nonna, for sharing your story. And make sure you share this episode if you know somebody who could use the advice around coming out later, if they can relate to coming out from a religious and immigrant family, or if they need some Pride advice. And I hope that everybody who is celebrating Pride this year stays safe. June is also Filipino Heritage Month. So the question I got this month was, do you speak Tagalog? And if you don't know, Tagalog is one of the languages that's spoken in the Philippines. I understand Tagalog fluently. I grew up in a household where my parents spoke to me in Tagalog. I usually respond in English. So I can understand, I can watch a movie, I can watch a TV show. In terms of responding, I feel like I have very basic Tagalog, and I would have to really, really, really think about my response in order for me to respond. Usually though, if I am around the language more, so if I'm visiting my parents for an extended period of time, I'm better at picking it up and then I can speak with a bit more ease. But if you were to come up to me right now and ask me to speak Tagalog, I would have to really, really think about it. And apparently I also have a really big North American accent when I speak Tagalog. So my extended family, they always say that I sound like a comedian when I'm speaking Tagalog. But yeah, I understand it. So if you have any movies or TV shows that are in Tagalog that you think I should watch, send me your recos because maybe I can check them out. So thank you so much to the listener for asking me that question. And of course, thank you so much for tuning in this week. If you haven't already, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast wherever you get your podcast. We are on Instagram and on YouTube. It's at Happy to See Me Pod. Thank you for being here, and I will be happy to see you next Monday.